Hello, my name is Jim Tompkins, and I'm the CEO of Tompkins International. It is very important that we chat today because I believe these are the most uncertain and volatile times in the history of the world. Uncertainty and volatility make it impossible to make accurate predictions about the future or to define operating requirements of what we need to be doing over the next several years. Uncertainty and volatility result from the digital era, from the disruption cycle, the global economy, the innovations from technology, entrepreneurship, robotics, data science, commerce in general, and new retail, as well as from politics, bankruptcies, and mergers and acquisitions. Many executives are frustrated and troubled by the level of uncertainty and volatility, but this provides no relief. Today's reality is that uncertainty and volatility are not going away. And instead of being frustrated, we need to learn how to succeed and flourish in these uncertain and volatile times. This is why I'm speaking to you today to answer how to succeed and flourish in these uncertain and volatile times. In one word, the answer to this question is anti-brittle. So let's start there. What is anti-brittle? One, anti-brittle is the opposite of brittle. When you drop a plate on a kitchen floor, since the plate is brittle, it breaks. It shatters into 1,000 pieces. Two, due to the flexibility, the modularity, the agility, the adaptability, the anti-brittle lives on for another day. Three, another way to think about anti-brittle is to think about anti-brittle decisions as solutions where you have no regrets. Where no regrets decisions are decisions that you feel good about, where you're confident that the decision is right and the decision will not come back to haunt you. Four, anti-brittle businesses operate efficiently and effectively over a wide range of requirements. But even more, anti-brittle solutions are solutions that are not static, dead, or steady state, but rather are dynamic living organisms that are alive and capable of responding to stimuli, reproducing, growing, developing, and evolving over time. In business today, it is very difficult to understand the difference between traditional organizations versus anti-brittle organizations. A traditional organization is designed to achieve stability via a static, siloed, hierarchical structure. Traditional organizations operate using linear planning and control. The structure is strong, methodical, and deliberate, but unfortunately slow and brittle. Traditional organizations work well in stable environments, but in times of high uncertainty and volatility, they crash and burn. Traditional organizations have not worked well since 2015, and they will not work well into the future. Simply too much uncertainty and volatility. Anti-brittle organizations are a network of connected teams that operate with rapid learning and fast decision cycles. Anti-brittle organizations have the ability to quickly and efficiently reconfigure. Anti-brittle organizations are flexible, modular, portable, agile, and scalable. They experiment, make mistakes, and move from failure to success quickly. Anti-brittle organizations make no regret decisions, and they operate well by evolving over a series of options that morph into what is needed over time. Anti-brittle organizations have no steady state, rather an ongoing evolution of options. In today's dynamic, uncertain, volatile environment, we need solutions that are anti-brittle and no regrets, enduring to last well into the future and to evolve past the volatility, uncertainty, and unpredictability of the day by easily moving through options that allow for a series of optimal solutions to be deployed over time. This series of optimal solutions begets the question, should we be trying to establish optimal solutions, or should we be developing solutions that offer us a series of optional solutions, allowing us to adapt over time to the circumstances that occur? The fact is that traditional organizations pursue optimality, whereas anti-brittle organizations pursue optionality. We see with anti-brittle solutions, the more options presented, the less brittle, and thus the more anti-brittle. Especially in times like today of high volatility, you need even more options. Optimality is broken in volatile times, whereas optionality is no regrets. It is winning in volatile times. In fact, given the volatility, uncertainty, and unpredictability of the day, I believe optionality is optimal. A key with respect to properly deploying options is that the easier, quicker, and cheaper to deploy options, the more anti-brittle and the better the results. A frequent challenge after a brief explanation of anti-brittle has to do with the application of optionality. I have found by presenting an example of optionality, I am able to move the understanding of anti-brittle from basic to advanced and from theoretical to practical. Let me use the challenge of new retail to illustrate optionality. New retail is when brands and retailers understand that it is not about bricks versus clicks, but rather bricks and clicks. New retail is when brands and retailers understand that it is not about private labels versus brand, but it's about private label and brands. The facts are, in today's world of new retail, all firms must sell in-store and online, and all retailers must do private label, and all brands must do direct-to-consumer. Today's uncertainty and volatility in the new retail is a result of, 1, ongoing changes in consumer expectations and shopping preferences. 2, ongoing expansion of where, what, and how retailers and brands offer products to consumers. 3, ongoing changes in consumer desires or services, prices, selection, experience, and convenience. In the last few years, consumers have gone from 1, buying what the retailer had to sell versus buying exactly what they want. 2, paying for home delivery versus expecting free shipping as well as free returns. 3, expecting delivery to their homes in 5 days, to 4 days, to 3 days, to 2 days, versus today, in many situations, next day or same day. 4, shopping in stores versus wanting more buy online, pick up in store. 5, going to stores to shop versus going to stores to be pampered and entertained. And 6, an ongoing list of never-ending changes. And into this hurricane wanders a supply chain team who is asked to do a 5-year network design to decide where to locate their wholesale warehouses, their retail distribution centers, and their direct-to-consumer fulfillment centers. Of course, the process for doing a network design is well known, but the truth is it is impossible to define the requirements of the supply chain network for the next 3 years, let alone the next 5 years. With consumer expectations and the company's expectations varying tremendously, and with today's uncertainty and volatility, there is nothing known about a 5-year planning horizon. Nevertheless, the supply chain teams work hard, and after many months of wrangling, there is an agreement on the base data, and after 3 months of network and sensitivity analysis and 2 months of facilities design, a 5-year plan and capital request is presented to the board. The capital request is denied by the board for many good reasons, and the supply chain team is told the board does not agree with the data set and the requirements, so they are told not to deploy their plan, but rather to move forward with a 3PL solution. The supply chain team moves forward, but the 3PL requests the same requirements that already have decided were too uncertain to rely upon. But there is no choice, as the firm really is out of capacity, so they do a 3PL contract for 3 years, knowing full well the requirements are poorly defined, and the 3PL does the best they can do, but what results is a manual solution using existing technologies. All parties are disappointed, performance is bad, costs are high, and service is poor. So management decides to hire a supply chain consultant to fix this mess. Unfortunately, although the consultants do a fine job, they cannot define the requirements, and so they too fail. So what is the best answer to this? It is not having a better internal supply chain or hiring a better supply chain consultant. The answer is to realize it is important to define the requirements, but it is impossible to define the requirements. What is needed is not an optimal network designed on poorly defined requirements, but rather an anti-brittle solution that allows transitioning from option to option as the requirements evolve. To be anti-brittle and to move from option to option easily and inexpensively. I began the pursuit of this anti-brittle solution 5 years ago. I knew to meet the consumer expectations, I needed to have quick delivery and inexpensive delivery. To do this, I needed to have a distributed logistics network where inventory was available near to the consumer and it could be delivered inexpensively and quickly. But if distributed logistics was to be economical, I needed, 1, the ability to allocate inventory to facilities without raising levels of inventory stock, but by increasing inventory flow. 2, the ability to house multiple sellers in distributed facility centers, all using the same technology. 3, robotic material handling that was cost-effective and fully portable. 4, a supply chain network that was modular, flexible, agile, scalable, and adaptable. 5, a uni-channel ecosystem that supported direct-to-consumer, buy online, pick up in store, store replenishment, wholesale, break bulk, and cross-dock. 6, to offer sellers a rapid deployment, low capital, low operating cost, high speed of delivery solution with 1-year contracts to allow optionality. 7, to offer sellers an end-to-end solution on demand capacities, a great customer experience while supporting a high level of brand integrity. And 8, to offer sellers an easily understood, no surprises, unit price cost model that allowed control of their budget. In November of 2018, we began shipping the above anti-brittle, no regret solution. We called this anti-brittle business Monarch FX. Monarch as in the metamorphosis of the caterpillar into the butterfly, the total reinvention of the supply chain to meet the volatile and uncertain requirements of the unknown future. An anti-brittle solution that provides sellers over time the opportunity to move from a base supply chain network to a series of options that meet the requirements as that time is needed. The Monarch FX solution is a living solution that evolves with a seller's requirements and hopefully allows you to fully understand how to succeed and flourish in these uncertain and volatile times of new retail. The uncertain and volatile times of today demand the deployment of anti-brittle, no-regret solutions that allow for the intelligent movement across options to provide solutions applicable to the requirements of the day. It is by pursuing optionality and solutions like Monarch FX that organizations will be successful and flourish in the uncertain and volatile times. I would love to talk with you about anti-brittle solutions and Monarch FX. If I can be helpful, do not hesitate to email me or call with the information on the next slide. Until next time, go, go, go.